This is a story of a young girl whose dream job turned out to be a tragedy. She mysteriously disappeared from a Disney cruise ship, and this riddle has remained unsolved for 11 years now. The girl's parents are sure that something horrifying happened to their daughter, and the ship authorities are hiding the blood-curdling truth, making up ridiculous theories about her disappearance. Today, we're going to look into all the available information and try to find answers to the main questions. Was the girl really killed? And is Disney protecting the criminals? We're going to talk about Rebecca Coriam. The girl was born in England on March 11, 1987, and she dreamed of working on a cruise ship since her early childhood. In June 2010, she went to London for a job interview at Disney and got the position of an entertainer on board of a huge cruise ship, Disney Wonder. The enormous ship resembles a giant hotel that has all the accommodations you need to comfortably relax and enjoy your leisure time. Its length is 965 feet, and it can accommodate 2,500 passengers and almost 1,000 service personnel. Not everyone can afford to get on board of this ship. Currently, you'd have to pay $2,000 per person to enjoy 8 days on board of this ship, and this is the cheapest option with no cabin windows. Those who want to travel with utmost comfort have to pay almost $7,000. But Rebecca didn't have to pay a single cent. She could travel for free and do what she liked most: make sure all the kids on board were properly entertained. After finishing her 4-month-long training, the girl could finally start working on the cruise ship. The ship sailed from Los Angeles, the Mexican Riviera, and through the Panama Canal. Rebecca received devastating news from home after that. Her grandfather had passed away. She had to get back to England for 2 weeks and stay with her family. After that, the girl continued her work on the cruise ship. She kept in touch with her family members via Facebook and Skype. 6 weeks later, on March 21, 2011, Rebecca sent her last message to her family members, promising to call them the next day. But it never happened. Her worried mother kept messaging her on Facebook, but the girl wasn't seen online. At 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Rebecca didn't show up to her shift, which was immediately noticed by other staff members. To their surprise, the girl couldn't be found anywhere. They checked her cabin and then searched for her throughout the whole ship. They tried to get to her through the onboard voice announcement system, but it didn't work either. Then, the security personnel started to look through the camera footage, and that's where they found their first clue. On one of the videos, Rebecca was seen in the crew area. She was talking on the internal communications phone. You could clearly see on the footage that she was extremely agitated about something. An unknown man came up to Rebecca while she was talking on phone and asked her if she was okay. She replied that she was fine, hanged up the phone, and disappeared from the footage because she moved to a blind spot area. There's no further information about her whereabouts. Understanding that it was impossible to find the girl on the ship authorities contacted the United States Coast Guard and the Mexican Navy. And that's where the weirdness begins. The ship continued to travel just as usual, even though one of the crew members simply disappeared. Moreover, the Coast Guard and the Navy ops were given the wrong coordinates. 3 days after the girl's disappearance, the captain of the ship contacted the Bahamas police and asked them to conduct an investigation because the ship was registered in their jurisdiction. They encountered one more problem that could prevent them from untangling this mystery. The Bahamas is a pretty corrupt country, so expecting a proper, objective investigation was quite a stretch from the very beginning. That's exactly how it went. An investigator from the Bahamas was brought to the ship by helicopter, and his investigation continued for just half a day. He questioned only 6 crew members out of 950. None of the 2,000 passengers were ever even questioned. After that, he just boarded his helicopter and went home, forgetting about this case. In the meantime, the girls' worried parents didn't know what to do with themselves. They decided to go from England to Mexico, where the ship was going to dock at the port. According to them, Disney representatives did everything they could to hide their presence there from all the passengers. They were brought to the ship in a car with blacked-out windows, and they got on board through the staff entrance, and only when all the passengers already left. The captain of the Disney Wonder met them to express his condolences. He also shared his version of the events. In his opinion, Rebecca got washed overboard when she was in the swimming pool for staff members. Let's talk a bit more about this and look at the pool. As we can see, the captain's theory doesn't sound believable at all. Even if we forget the fact that the pool is surrounded by high edges and is located quite far away from the ship's edges, there's still one more inconsistency. To reach the pool, the waves would have to be about 33 feet in height, but the water that day was completely still. All the data from different sources confirms that there was absolutely no wind. Obviously, the girls' parents weren't satisfied with this theory. However, Disney firmly assured them that what happened to their daughter was just an accident. 6 months after that, a journalist, John Ronson, bought a ticket to Disney Wonder to conduct his own investigation. He didn't tell anyone about his plans and pretended to be a simple tourist. After talking to the staff members, he found out several alarming facts. According to the staff members, the ship authorities knew exactly what happened to the girl, but the crew members were apparently afraid to tell the truth. Some of them pointed out that the girl couldn't just disappear without a trace and without showing on any of the hundreds of cameras. Some crew members who wished to stay anonymous thought that Disney had the footage that could shed light on the girl's fate. Most of the crew members who talked to the journalists agreed with the theory that Rebecca was really washed overboard. One of them pointed out that it was stormy that day, and this accident could actually happen. While talking to the crew members, Ronson also found out that a flip-flop shoe was found on deck after the girl's disappearance, but it was unclear if the shoe belonged to her. The journalist also managed to talk to one female crew member who shared her version of the events. According to her, Rebecca was dating one of the staff members, and things in their relationship were quite tense before her disappearance. According to this version of the events, Rebecca was talking to her boyfriend or girlfriend on that last footage of her from the security cameras. The last thing that crew member added was that she also thought that Rebecca's disappearance was an accident. According to her, the girl was upset after the fight with her boyfriend and went to the pool for staff members to relax. She didn't believe that she could have been washed overboard by a huge wave. She suggested that Rebecca could sit on the wide edge and accidentally fall overboard. And when it comes to Rebecca's last call, some of the crew members were sure that it was recorded, but Disney simply didn't want to disclose the details of that conversation. Perhaps the truth about the girl's disappearance could heavily affect the company's reputation. And the flip-flop shoe found near the pool gradually started to seem like an irrelevant detail in regards to this investigation. The girl's parents said that the shoe wasn't their daughter's size, it was too small. None of the crew members could remember seeing Rebecca wear shoes like that. And in 2016, the private detective said that this flip-flop shoe belonged to a different crew member entirely. Ronson wrote an article about his investigation in The Guardian. He still thought that the captain's theory wasn't believable, and everything he heard from the crew members seemed suspicious to him. Rebecca's father hired a private detective who used to work for Scotland Yard. After conducting his own investigation, he said that the captain's theory was completely inconsistent and unsubstantiated. The sea was calm at the time. A huge wave couldn't just appear out of nowhere. He also said that the height of the edges wouldn't let anyone get washed overboard. The detective studied the camera footage showing Rebecca talk on the internal communications phone. According to him, the footage was purposefully cut to hide the indications showing the time and location. There was another weird thing on that footage. The clothes Rebecca was wearing looked like they were too big for her. This means that they belonged to someone else, most likely a man. Taking into consideration the fact that Rebecca was a UK citizen, the local politicians did everything they could to help the investigation. All of them also think that the version of the events Disney presented is absurd, and the company is hiding the truth. Some of them even think that the Bahamas police was bribed, and that's why they didn't conduct a full-blown investigation. Alas, their authority was limited by international law, and they couldn't provide any substantial help in the investigation of this mystery. Only after Rebecca's disappearance did British politicians start talking about passing a law that could allow them to investigate disappearances of their citizens in international waters. With the support of the British government, Rebecca's parents sued Disney. They demanded the disclose of all the available information that was connected to the disappearance of their daughter. The trial proceedings concluded in 2015. The parties came to an agreement. Disney paid the parents an undisclosed sum of money. No other details ever came out of that case. The parents are also under obligation to not publicly discuss the details of the investigation concerning their daughter's disappearance. Perhaps Disney told them the truth about their daughter's fate under non-disclosure orders. With all this information at our disposal, we can point out several theories about what happened to Rebecca. The theory about a huge wave washing the girl overboard out of the pool can be easily dismissed because it's completely unsubstantiated. The theory about Rebecca accidentally falling overboard because she wasn't careful enough also doesn't seem believable. She'd been working on that ship for quite a while and surely understood all the dangers. There was also a theory that Rebecca could have been kidnapped. The ship continued to sail after her disappearance. No one checked all the cabins. It could be that she was held on the ship during that time and then dropped off in Mexico. But the most obvious theory is that Rebecca was murdered by one of the passengers or crew members and then was thrown overboard. This is the theory that would perfectly explain why Disney was so worried about its reputation. The question is, what exactly is the company hiding? If the girl was killed by one of the crew members, it would be a serious blow to Disney's reputation. But the fact that the company could potentially hide or fake the evidence could turn into a massive lawsuit. Alas, it's been 11 years since the girl disappeared, and no one managed to get the truth out of this multi-billion-dollar company. What do you think happened to this girl that fateful morning, and what undesirable information is Disney trying to hide? Tell us what you think in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe and like this video. This way, you can help our channel build up its audience and make a lot more interesting content for you. Thanks for watching.